Oh, what's going on, guys? So I am here to talk about the price bubble that's going on right now, and kind of talk about some of the other fluctuations in pricing and value of systems throughout the throughout the decades. The first one I want to talk about though is the Nintendo. Where the prices are now. I know myself the price of a Nintendo, so it's easy for me to see how much they fluctuated, but I've been trying to see where all the other systems are and how they're kind of moving, just to kind of talk about who else, the other systems I'm referring to. The system that I see the most on YouTube being collected right now is the 64. Almost everybody I know on YouTube has an almost complete 64 collection, is collecting primarily and heavily for 64. And this is all a certain age group too. So a lot of these people are a little bit younger than me, my age or younger, and just like me, and other people a little bit older than me, we all kind of collect the systems that we grew up with as in our early childhood. So I do see a lot more people collecting the 64 than any other system. That doesn't mean that the prices are going up of 64. Some of you might know the prices better than I do, but I haven't seen a great price increase in 64 games. And to be quite honest, I don't know many 64 games out there that are worth, I can rattle off the main ones like Mario Kart and Smash Brothers, but I don't think many of the games out there for 64, like I was saying, are worth more than $25, $35, $40. I think some of the most rarest ones, and I'm sure somebody could tell me if there are any besides, are any that are over $100. I think when I was reading the Dreamcast, I think there was only like 1 or 2 games that were over 100 a few years back for the Dreamcast even, but I think, 366 games for the 64? I don't exactly remember the number, but it's not a hard system to collect for, in my opinion. There's a lot of copies of games out there. They're easier to find. They're easier to find complete in box. But, we haven't seen that big of a price increase, a percentage of price increase for the 64, even though it is being heavily collected for. Now, I might stand corrected, so, let me know, how those price increases have been for the 64, or if there is a big bubble for that. The top 3 systems that I would imagine that, are collected for the most, and I'm just guessing, would probably be the Super Nintendo, 64, and then possibly the NES. I don't really see that much. I see a lot of NES collecting, but I see a lot of other systems with NES too. But I definitely know, a lot of people collect for Super Nintendo. Now I know prices of Super Nintendo games have gone up a little bit. Actually, I know they've gone up a lot. I've got several games myself that I've seen prices just skyrocket. One would be Demon's Crest. I believe that's what it's called on the Super Nintendo. But there's Capcom's game Demon's Crest. There was both Pocky and Rocky games have increased tremendously. Turrican 2, the Mega Man X games, Mega Man 7. Super Nintendo is increasing a lot too, and it's sought after. The Nintendo, where the Nintendo's at right now, and I've mentioned this in a few of my other videos, but I keep bringing these price comparisons up because I just don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to come down. I don't know where this fluctuation is going, if it's going to keep increasing or what. I look to the TurboGrafx in the late 90s, early 2000s. TurboGrafx games were going for a lot of money. In 2004, I sold a copy of Devil's Crush for $45, and I don't even think the game is worth that much anymore right now. I think it's worth like $25 or $30. So the TurboGrafx has fluctuated a lot. Games that were worth a lot 10 years ago have kind of come down or evened off, while the majority of the games and a few other games have gone up. So overall, there's been a price increase, but there was games that were really big that just came down in price drastically. The biggest game ever to come down in price, in my opinion, and it might be the biggest, was Dracula X for the PC Engine Super CD-ROM. That game was going for $500-something back in the late 90s, early 2000s, close to $500, maybe more. Once more ports of that game started coming out, though, prices dropped on it. Dropped incredibly. I bought a copy of it in 2009 or 2010 for, I think, $140, something around there, maybe less. But that game's actually only worth a little over $100 now, maybe $109, $110, if that. You might be able to get it for under $100 in a poor condition. I don't know. But that's just an example of a game that was worth so much because it was so rare, so hard to find, and there were so few copies of it and or ports or versions of it that it was worth $500, and then once more ports started coming out, it went down in price. So I thought the same thing was going to happen with the TurboGrafx once the Wii Shop channel started letting you download all the NEC games. We started seeing Wonder Boy games coming out, Dragon's Lair 3. We started seeing all. I keep looking at my collection up there, but I've seen a lot of the NEC games, the pinball games, Aliens Crush, Devil's Crush, I believe. I've seen all these NEC games now coming out in the Wii, so I'm wondering, is that going to affect the prices of the TurboGrafx? I don't think it is as much because the games aren't so outrageously overpriced due to rarity. They are due to wanting to play it. Now that Dracula game, everybody wanted to play Dracula X because it's just a badass game. But not everybody wants to play the TurboGrafx. There's a lot of collectors out there and a lot of people who do enjoy it. But I think just the novelty of having the TurboGrafx and holding those hue cards in your hand and having the actual hue cards and the system and playing it 3 feet from your TV with that small controller cable, I think that's all a part of the TurboGrafx to me. So I don't even want to play those games on my Wii. But does having more ports of those games decrease the value of the collection? I don't think so. Not unless the game's really wanted to be played and only valuable because it's wanted to be played. There's just like Chrono Trigger. That game was worth a lot of money 10 years ago, and then it just went down in value. Will we see Earthbound go down in value ever? Now that there's many more ports of Earthbound out there. Maybe. Maybe Earthbound will drop down about $100. There's a billion copies of it out there. People want it just to play it, so now that people can play it for a couple dollars on their Wii, is the value, all those people who own 12 copies of Earthbound, are they going to take a loss now because the prices are going to go down? We'll find out. Earthbound's been out for a couple months now on the Wii Shop channel, so find out what happens with the price of that game soon. But, a few games that, for the NES that have gone up, and I don't think these games are going down. I don't think the NES is going down. There's a few of these systems, TurboGrafx, NES, Super Nintendo. I don't think these bubbles exist. I think price bubbles only exist for a few reasons. Price bubbles that actually drop the price drastically, and I don't think these reasons exist for our collections right now. But I could stand corrected. You guys are collectors like me. You guys know stuff I don't know. So chime in. Let me know what you think. But just for an example of games, Dragon Fighter and Mighty Final Fight. These games were going for $25 each in 2011, and I might have used these games as an example before, but these games are in the $80 range now. Two big jumps were Zombie Nation went from about $80 in 2011 to $160 average here 2013, and that price has been going on for about a year now. And one of the biggest games that I like to compare, because it had the biggest increase, almost as much of a percentage increase as Flintstones, Surprise at Dino Peak, or Chubby Cherub. It was Panic Restaurant, over a 30% price increase. This game was going, I paid $87 for this game exactly. I found my receipt actually in 2010, I believe, might have been, yeah, in 2010. And this game goes for $260 nowadays, so almost tripled in value. These games, I don't believe Nintendo's going to go down in value. I don't believe that anything that's going to happen out there, even releasing another version or Nintendo Wii port of Panic Restaurant, I don't think there's much can happen that could make this game's price go down in value. But you know what? Just let me know what you guys think. Chime in and let me know what you think about these prices of these video games these days and this price bubble out there. I want to know what you collectors are thinking. You know, I'm primarily concerned. I want to hear about, you know, all the systems, but my main concerns are, you know, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, TurboGrafx. I myself am watching the prices of the PC Engine. I don't know. That's, you know, a little more of an obscure system. I know a lot of you have it, a lot of you collect for it, but, you know, I've been watching prices of that, and they fluctuate a lot. The PC Engine fluctuates a lot. I mean, I still underpay for a lot of the games on there, but there are a few games that I paid a little over for, like Summer Carnival. I think I paid $90 for that game, and you can pick up a copy for like $65 to $85 now. So that's just a system where I see a lot of price fluctuations due to supply and demand. And does a store pop up, a web store pop up that offers the games for cheap? You buy them up, they start replacing the games at a higher price. Things like that happen. The store's shut down, then you've lost your connection for good priced PC Engine games, and God forbid you have to buy a game off of Play Asia, because that place just price gouges to all hell. But yeah, so just let me know what you guys think about these prices these days. I think they're a little bit ridiculous as far as being able to collect the games. It's very hard. As far as feeling good about having games that are worth money, it's nice. I still beat myself up over not having multiple copies of games I could have multiple copies of, because I only bought one $10 copy of Sword Master when I could have bought the other copy for $10 that was there. And you know, there's a lot of bittersweetness to collecting, but that's part of the fun. So, alright guys, I'll talk to you later. Peace.